No. And if there's anything that you want to speak about just personally, just let me know, and then I can pause the recording. You and I can chat
Okay.
just so that it doesn't get captured for the final kind of, just for your privacy, you know? If there's anything that you want to discuss, just let me know.
Sure. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so today, I don't know if you have felt a shift from like Friday till now in terms of your own energy or just the energy in general. I just kind of want to check in to see what you feel.
Yeah, I think a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Okay, so we're going from Scorpio, kind of a more of a watery sign that kind of like digs in really deep. You came to the Scorpio activation. So it was kind of all about more going a little deeper into our energy and our subconscious to pull things up that we might not always know are there or whatnot. And we kind of discussed a few of those things, but Sagittarius is more of an energy that's a mutable fire energy. So there's a little more kind of like spark energy to it, but the mutable part is a bit more flexible and it's not so rigid. So I kind of I like Sagittarius fire because you still have some flexibility to kind of flow within this like punchy energy, which is super cool.
Okay, sounds good.
And then, yeah, so I'm not going to get too much into the whole description of astrology versus Reiki. I have discussed that in the past, but I'm going to keep it a little more simple and more framed around just letting you know what Sagittarius energy is all about and how it feels this particular season. Because each season, when we look at the astrological seasons, each season is very different because it depends on where the other planets are situated and what sort of effects are happening within that. And I want to preface that when we do talk about astrology, it is really just more as a mirror to kind of reflect upon. So it's information more so than, and it's energy too, if we look into the reasons of how it's making us feel or how the words that we're kind of discussing make us feel and what it kind of brings up. So it's more of a, I don't know, like a kind of a gauge or a measure to kind of reflect on back to ourselves and ask ourselves certain questions and utilize that information to do our own self-inquiry. And then from there, make a choice and intention to shift our energy. So it's still really about our own intention and our own intuition when we speak about astrology. But a lot of astrologers and things that you read on the internet aren't worded like that. It's like, this is the energy, this is how you're feeling, and we don't want to be told how we're feeling because everyone again feels different up against certain things, especially when it comes down to our own soul signature and our own way of being and our own, measure of our natal chart factors in too. So our intuition is a big part of this exercise and doing this exploration. I don't want you to walk away thinking this is how I have to feel based on this information, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we will do a little discussion about the astrological energy, and then we'll definitely go into a Reiki healing later on. So what is, I don't know where the music went, but that's okay. I'll get it back later. But what is Sagittarius season? As you know, and maybe you don't know, but each astrological season starts around the 21st or the 22nd of every month. I love kind of landing into a season outside of the typical like timestamp of our calendar. It's just kind of this idea of going off time and being like, oh, I'm going to check in with myself on this random day. And then from there, kind of like focus in on yourself maybe a little more rather than external things going on or your day-to-day plan kind of thing. So I love that's why I love checking into each season, because it kind of, oh yeah, it's the season, I get to like check in rather than it being like the first of the month, what are my goals, kind of like less structured. It kind of puts it into a little bit more of a different flow, and I love that. So the season of astrology means that the sun is moving into that constellation in the solar system. So that's kind of the actual what is actually happening. It's that we're measuring the energy based off the sun moving into
I never knew that, actually.
yeah, and that's like kind of more comes from when you read horoscopes. That's what they are reading is how, okay, Sagittarius is now, the sun is in Sagittarius. How does Pisces sun interact at that time? Or how does Aquarius sun act at that time? I don't know what your first sign is.
Leo.
A Leo, yeah. So how Leo sun interacts with Sagittarius sun. Leo being like the fixed, I believe the fixed fire sign, and Sagittarius is mutable fire sign. So, you know, in that case, like if we're putting fire against fire or fire with fire, your Leo energy is probably more dominant in this scenario. But being that it's Sagittarius season, it's mutable fire, it's kind of a chance for you to kind of like, you might feel like you can go in a little bit more flow rather than your kind of typical, like maybe fixed. And there's more to it than that for sure, but it's just an example of how our natal chart can still kind of definitely factors into all of this as well.
This cat is also Leo, if you haven't noticed.
Oh, yes.
Like totally in the way.
Yeah. Aw, hello. Cutie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then from there, knowing that the sun is now in Sagittarius, there are also other planets in Sagittarius at the moment, and that would be Mercury and Venus. So Mercury is kind of more about communication and technology and some other things, and then Venus is kind of more around love. So you can see how we kind of put this equation together, and we're really just looking at Sagittarius as a whole and what's kind of going on. There's so much more to astrology. We can dig in really deep, but I don't necessarily like to dig in so deep because we don't really need to, because there's enough information just when we look at what is Sagittarius season as a whole at this moment in time, and then we go from there. We're going to go through the month. Things are going to change. We continually check in over the month as the energy kind of shifts over into the next season. So we can keep doing this kind of cycle of reflection and healing, and it just keeps this nice overall kind of evolution going of our own selves. Yeah. Any questions so far about any of that?
No, that's all makes sense. Okay. I know that, so that's cool.
Cool. Yeah, I think I already went through the last little bit here. Cool. And then I talked about a little bit about this already, but how each season uniquely affects us. So if you wanted to dive in a little bit deeper on, you know, how is Sagittarius season going to affect me, you can kind of dive into your natal chart and look at some of the placements and what I call the sun is transiting Sagittarius. We always call each planet is transiting a certain area of the chart, and they're all moving consistently. But your natal chart is a snapshot of where the planets were at the time of your birth, creating your kind of soul signature and personality. And then from there, the planets continually to move around you as who you are. And so we kind of branch out from that aspect of who am I and how are the planets affecting me? And we look at just different placements within that. And we can go into that more like in the idea of like, based on your intuition, where am I at right at this time? What am I moving through? What am I curious about? What do I want to look at? And the self-inquiry happens from there. And then we do our healing from there to transform that. So that's why I like astrology. It's a little different than I think some others look at it, but I always incorporate the healing because I find that just helps just move along what we're kind of thinking about into more of an action or more of a movement into what we are kind of creating or manifesting or desiring in our life. Yeah, I do read natal charts, but I do it more of I take like time and write kind of a report, and then it would be something that we would go through and just look at together after the fact. I like to put a lot of time into that because I like to use my intuition and just kind of read your energy more in that, rather than just kind of fill a report out with words based on what you find on the internet. I like to like actually dig into.
I feel like
And
that would be kind of good for us to do, especially since like you've known
yeah,
for a while. So
yeah, yeah,
that'd be cool. Yeah, I'd be interested in that for sure.
yeah. Okay, yeah. We can talk about which we can, if you have time after this, we can put it on pause, or we can just get together for like a more of a discovery call and
Okay.
then go through some of it. I can pull up some placements based on kind of where you feel like you're at and what you want to explore. And I can let you know some placements that we can look at, and we can go as deep or as small as you want, kind of thing, within that whole exploration. And it's best not to get to know your whole natal chart in one setting anyway, because again, it's like so much information. It's one of those things to kind of like obviously check into, spread it out over time and whatnot. Okay. And then, yeah, already spoke about this too, is just remembering that you're following your intuition, like allow your intuition to be your guide first and foremost over anything and any information any healer or astrologer is giving you, especially when it comes down to reading astrology on the internet. I find that if it doesn't resonate, it just doesn't resonate. It's fine and it's okay. And it isn't necessarily the way it is, because of how you are so unique and so specific in how you are as a human being, and how we all are. Our intuition is the thing we should listen to the first and foremost, or last even. And then staying open, as we discussed on Fridays, was staying open to what can be received when we welcome in the loving, supportive energy of the source or universe as a whole. Just kind of creates, I think it creates a deeper connection, but this way of like, if you're opening yourself up and kind of commanding different things or asking for different things, the universe just hears you in that and will deliver things from that, instead of kind of being indecisive or just floating around and just moving on with life. Like if we make that action in creating an ask or an inquiry, the messages can start just coming faster into our field because we're open. But we don't always want to be open at the same time. Like you create a space like we're doing tonight, creating a space to open up and receive, and then we close that off and kind of seal it into our field. That's just like a really important part of the practice of healing and working with energy. And with that, also grounding is part of that experience of kind of closing off. It's okay to close and seal your energy, because if you're open all the time, you can, I think we talked about this before, I don't know, but if you're open all the time, you're kind of floating around and you're having too many ideas and maybe getting overwhelmed. So it's good to just close off, kind of anchor in the experience you've kind of inquired and created, and work with that until you're ready to open up again and receive and listen, but being really intentional with that space and how you are doing that. I've been caught in the act of not knowing this. Like I'm just like, after doing Reiki and learning Reiki and just like keeping my energy so open, it was just like so many ideas, didn't know which direction to go or what to focus on. And I just couldn't understand like, what does even grounding mean and what does it feel like? I didn't even know at a point, and I didn't understand it until I finally learned, like, ground my energy, open, close my energy, like have so much control over that, and kind of learn that a bit more through learning Reiki as well. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. just gonna check the time because, okay. Any questions so far? I know I'm talking a lot usually.
No, that's good.
Good. Okay. The energy of Sagittarius season. So some of the words that can be kind of, we can work on activating, working within or playing within today is freedom, liberty, truth, new form, adventure, this idea of momentum, innovation, action, exploration, optimism. I think these are all like super, super fun words. And usually I pull out all of the fun words. There are opposite words that, or opposing words that come from looking at astrology, but those, we don't really need to look at them because we will already know where we're at with those kinds of words. And I don't think we need to be like encouraged or activated necessarily with some of those other words. So we'd rather work within the positivity, and then from there, again, that's kind of this activation of where we want to be going, and then we can shift through whatever comes up based on that. If there's resistance, we will know, we will feel that, we will know that about ourselves. So are there any of these words that kind of pop out the most for you today?
I like adventure and action and exploration.
Yeah, those are good ones. I like those.
A little more excitement, but a little more like, yeah, like being more carefree about it.
Yeah, exactly. Carefree. That's another really good word for Sagittarius.
Like be pretty uptight sometimes. So
yeah. Okay. The energy. So Sagittarius is ruled by the planet Jupiter and ushers in an energy that can bring through more, carefree and optimistic outlook on life. So it's just like this little bit of a more easeful, you'll feel a little bit more easeful in doing these, sort of taking these actions towards whatever you're trying to create this season. And if not, it'll be really quick to kind of go, oh, actually something's getting in the way, like, it's not a big deal, let's just go for it or try it. Or you might have somebody else kind of come in your life that's like, let's do this thing. You're like, oh, I was thinking about doing that, okay, let's do it. Like, it just, these opportunities just kind of come easy. And so yeah, just look out for that sort of experience this season. And yeah, wisdom, which further enhances Sagittarius. Oh wait, what am I saying? Jupiter being the planet of wisdom, which further enhances Sagittarius season to bring more curious nature of exploring new aspects of self, others, and the world. So there's a little bit of this idea of philosophy and just whatever adventure might even mean, whether it is the typical one would be travel and exploring the world, but it's also comes down to, how do I want to explore myself differently? And is there some other type of way that I can explore my inner world? Or, be curious about other people and ask them questions. And what am I learning from others when I'm asking them? And how is that affecting me and what I want to know or what I want to learn or understand about something new? And then just a few more kind of words to kind of activate the energy and just sort of just dabble in what it is at the moment. Today's focus is to consciously evoke what you want to happen, to inquire and take strong actions necessary to bring completion into areas as well. So if you're like, okay, I really want to move on and do this thing, but something really needs to close off. If you want to know what that is, it's just kind of inquiring what that might be, so that you can move on and go to the next thing on your journey, or on your, not list of to-dos, but the next thing that you want to kind of bring in. This idea of curiosity and adventure.
What if you like don't know what it is, but like I feel like something needs to shift? I just don't know what it is.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead.
I said that's okay if I don't know what it is that I want to shift.
Yeah, because you can ask the question even just like, what is needing to shift at this time? Like a simple question like that, when we go into our subconscious and our meditation state, we may receive something from there, but we're also intending our energy to shift in the direction of knowing the answer to that question. So it may not happen this evening, but it's something that may happen during this season as well. So it's just, you're putting it into your own awareness by wanting to know this answer, by opening your energy to source, asking the question. Source will support you in finding that out. It's just, you can't really say, like, time is not really a thing when we work with source energy and universal energy and our life force. It kind of happens in the time that it's meant to happen, and that's where our like big trust comes in. We know we've asked the question, we know we've put it out there, we know we want to find out the answer, and the act of trust is like the main body of work in that scenario. And then continuing just to practice and listening to our intuition and how we do receive messages. We all receive messages in a very different way, whether it is always in meditation or in a Reiki session, or maybe it is just like, oh, like I figured something out in yoga class and it just came to me, or I saw something on the street that reminded me of something else. So it's just kind of this idea of opening is allowing us to see based on inquiries that we've asked, if that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I mean, any questions about that at all? I know it's like a
No, that
broad,
that makes sense.
yeah, broad answer, but it's just part of it. Like, have to be patient as well with these sort of things. And if we can't be afraid to ask and open ourselves up to those answers either, because if we're afraid and then we don't ask, and then we will never receive. So yeah, Sagittarius season is inviting us to be a little more commanding towards our desires. So just what I'm saying is, let's just ask the question, this is what I want to know. Let's do it, and like find that confidence and kind of that push towards it. And I'm open to finding out in all kinds of sorts of ways, like keep it open that way too. And then, yeah, something will most likely come from that. Let's see what else. Yeah, that's just the idea of using our soul's natural ability to transform our desires. So having that trust that going into this experience, our energy will shift in the direction that it needs to go, because we're creating that intention. Okay. Let's see. Okay, perfect. We're right on time, which is great. An hour always seems a little short for me with doing the teaching part and the healing, mainly because I just want to keep teaching and talking. But I also want to just get to the healing as well. But I don't want to skip the inquiry questions, because I find that's like really where we get into our subconscious. So I was kind of thinking today that it would be cool if you were to close your eyes and answer the questions within and kind of see where the answers come from that, instead of writing. And then I can send you the presentation again, and you can go through the questions again, even just after we do the healing this evening or tomorrow or whatnot. But yeah, I just thought that would be kind of an interesting exercise to do.
Okay.
Because most of them are probably pretty short answers. And Linz, I'm just gonna go and get some water. So I'll be right back.
Went to the
30
washroom.
seconds. Okay, yeah, sounds good.
Mhm.
Is my voice loud through the little microphone?
It's fine.
Okay.
Oh,
I like to ask just to make sure so that, yeah, I don't want to be yelling. And I have this like little fuzzy thing on right now, and I don't know if it like mutes the sound too much. I have no idea. Okay, I'm gonna resume recording unless you have anything that you want to bring up before I start that. Okay. Resume. Oh, I didn't. Oh, wait, never mind. We're still recording. Okay, sounds good. Okay. Okay, so go ahead and get comfy and close your eyes, and I will walk you through the questions. And actually, you could lay down just to like get right into it, and we'll go into the healing right afterwards.
Cat is a real nuisance today.
She's right in there. She's like, I missed you today.
Pretty much. Right. Okay.
Go ahead and just close down your eyes and get comfortable. So it's really nice to close our eyes with doing some inquiry, because we can start to relax our body more and get a little deeper into the subconscious. And I would invite you just to really try to listen to the first thing that comes to mind and don't try to think about it too much. So I am going to go through the questions fairly quickly for this exercise. So just take a deep breath in, grounding down. Just maybe choosing to connect more deeply with your intuition. Imagining source energy flowing all the way down from the highest point you can imagine, down the line of your life force into the crown of your head. Just opening up the mode of receiving. The first question: do I feel like I have a sense of purpose in the world? If it's yes, what purpose? What is one word to maybe describe or nod to that purpose? Who is an important person that I can share my truth with? What risks have I taken so far this year? And what have I learned from them? When I envision my dream life, just see what first comes to mind. How does it look and feel? You can also sort of pay attention to where you're feeling the answer to these questions in your body. They may not come as words, it might just come more of a feeling or sensation. Kind of a added question to that one is, what is the vision I have for my future? This could land years ahead, it could land a month ahead. So just again, what first kind of comes to your mind? And what secret fears may be preventing me from living my most authentic life right now? Same sort of thing is, just imagine where, or just tune in where you might feel the answer to the questions in your body. Knowing, like, through this exploration that you're safe within your body. And by doing this inquiry, we're allowing energy to already shift. And how can I find more balance and harmony within myself? Or even, where do I feel balance and harmony is within myself? Just allow yourself to kind of let go of the answers to those questions. It's kind of arriving in a clear space within. And I invite you just to invite in an intention for healing today. What is something that you do want to shift or discover? Maybe there's a question that you do want to put out to source and your connection. Just really breathe into that intention and pay close attention to where you are feeling this in your body. For some added healing and shifting, I invite you to place the palms of your hands on that place on your body, to just hold the intention. Take a nice few deep breaths into your hands. Continue breathing into your hands. One more nice big breath. In and release, continuing to hold your intention. Going to transport our soul, our energy into an environment in a space. I'm going to say on kind of the edge of a forest. Take some time to take a few steps into the forest. It's kind of exploring what seems to be around you. Anything that you're starting to hear or any sensations and the temperature of the space. Just allowing yourself to arrive. Continuing to take some steps forward. Continuing to explore. And as you walk forward, you notice a path that you feel compelled to follow. As you follow this path, you come to a clearing in the forest. There are lights all the way around in a circle. Tea lights. And a fire pit in the middle of this circle. Begin to approach the fire. Just kind of have a look around and see if there's anyone there to join you. And if it's just you, that's perfectly fine, just to enjoy your own space and be with your own soul. In your mind's eye, placing your hands in front of the fire and just feeling the warmth in your hands and the warmth on your body. Just gazing into the pattern of the lights within the fire. Just picking up on any colors that you might be seeing. Just thinking about a couple of words that come to mind with what this fire really represents to you at this time. Take a few moments to find a seat on a log, somewhere where you can still feel the warmth of the fire. Just settle in to enjoy the space and to enjoy the experience. Just allowing the light of the fire to guide you. Begin to come back into your body, gathering all that you've explored back into your chest, into your heart space. Just taking a couple of deep breaths in to allow that to happen. I'm going to bring all of the aspects of ourselves back into our human body and vessel. I'm just imagining the earth below, grounding everything down and anchoring our intention into the earth. Allowing yourself to feel a little bit heavy into the bed below you. Bringing your awareness all the way down from your head to the bottom of your feet. So concentrate on your feet for a few moments just to activate more grounding and anchoring. Take a nice deep breath into your lower legs and your feet. Feeling a little heavy, but neutral. And when you are ready, you can just bring yourself back. All right. How are we feeling now?
Good.
Good.
Ready for bed.
Yes. Are you usually an early
Yeah.
bed person?
Yes. An early bed person, morning person.
Yes, I'm the opposite for sure. Yeah, I stay up late